In this video, I'm going to talk about the use of the database.config file. And there are two reasons why I created this option. It's to allow you either to use a different database instance name for SQL Server in case you have multiple installations of SQL Server, or if you wanted to share the same database across multiple machines. So say you have a laptop and a desktop, and you'd want to point at the same data for both of those machines, and that way you don't have to move data around or re-enter it on both machines. So in that case, you definitely want to make sure that anytime you'd want to run Eye in the Sky Screener, the machine that you have the database hosted on is available for that. So let's say you have a laptop and you like to travel a lot, you want to make sure that you put the database on the laptop so that the laptop always has the database with you, so that you don't have to be connected to your desktop computer to get at the database for Eye in the Sky Screener. So with that being said, and also a couple of prereqs for this would be, it'd be good if you know how to use firewalls and configure those if you're running a firewall. Usually Windows Firewall is running on machines by default, and you'll have to change some settings on that to allow SQL Server to get through a port to the database. And also you should know how to use SQL Server and the Server Management Studio to configure things so that you know what the server name is and what the instance name is, which is required for this file. So with that all being said, let's go through the usage of this file. You see that the contents is server name, specified just like that with a capital S and then a capital N, then equal sign, and then the server name you want to use, which is usually the machine name that SQL Server is installed on, and then the next line in the file with an enter after that would be instance name, just like that with a capital I and a capital N equals, and then the name of the instance that you would want to use. SQL Express is the default instance name that Eye in the Sky Screener looks for, but if you use this file, then you can change it to whatever you want to name that instance when you install SQL Server. So to get started, you would create this file and you'd save it as database.config, all lowercase, and you'll need to put that file in the directory where Eye in the Sky Screener is. So if you're running 64-bit version of Windows, you'll have a program files x86 on your C drive, and in that you would find Eye in the Sky Screener's installation directory. So once you save this file, you want to copy that into that directory in Windows Explorer. And it'll ask you for permission to do that because Windows protects the folders that are under program files. So you'd hit continue, and now that you have that database config file in that directory, Eye in the Sky Screener will detect that and use that file whenever it looks for the database instead of the standard defaults, which is the local machine with the default name of SQL Express for the database instance. So once you've got that set up, then you can launch Eye in the Sky Screener to connect to the database. Now, one thing I would recommend is having SQL Server Management Studio installed and connect to that database through SQL Server Management Studio to make sure that you have connectivity to that database. So if you connect to that server, which is the machine name slash and the instance name, I'll open that again to show you, and use Windows Authentication. That's another caveat. You'll want to have the same username on both machines with administrative privileges both to Windows and SQL Server so that it can do all the things that it needs to do, such as insert data and those types of things. So you would hit connect, and then if you can go into databases and see Eye in the Sky Screener, then you've confirmed that you have connectivity to that database. And this is important to diagnose like firewall issues. Like Windows Firewall is by default on machines when you install Windows. So you may want to disable the Windows Firewall while you're testing this just to make sure you can connect. And if you have like issues where you have to open up ports to allow SQL Server to get through to connect, you can use that to diagnose that situation. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell for database.config. If you have any questions, my email is questions@eyeintheskyscreener.com. This is a pretty advanced topic, so if you don't know about Windows firewalls and you don't know about SQL Server, it may be you don't want to go down this road, because with firewalls being prevalent nowadays, it can be a real kind of pain to configure this. So if you don't know what you're doing there, it can be a real pain. And I do provide support, but you know, every computer is different and the firewalls that people use are different, so it can be pretty involved going through this and getting this set up, but it is available to you, and if you have any questions, let me know. Thank you very much and have a great day.